Well, welcome everybody. You're joining me fishing Pevensey Bay today. It is the day of changed plans. Let me explain why. I'm actually at the third venue I've arrived at this morning. Third time lucky maybe. I was planning to fish Eastbourne today, targeting plaice and sole, but when I got there, there was about 4 or 5 massive heavy plant vehicles shifting shingle on the beach. You can probably see there's one behind me here as well where I've moved to. But it looked pretty unpleasant fishing there. It wouldn't have been quiet, it wouldn't have been peaceful. They've built massive steep shingle banks like that down onto the beach. I thought I'm never going to get back up that with all my gear. You might be able to see similar here. I'm not sure which way the camera's angled, but it's still a pretty steep drop down. But they've put in these little, like I'd call them like gravel groins, if you like, patches where you can actually get up a bit easier, but it's still going to be tricky getting back up with all my gear. So anyway, I've moved along here to Pevensey Bay after turning up at Eastbourne. Being a bit disappointed it didn't look very relaxing to fish there, and I come out for a bit of relaxation. Then I drove down to Pevensey Bay car park, and there was quite a lot of people there. Maybe because it's lunchtime when I turned up. Well, lunchtime, it's not quite lunchtime yet, but maybe that's just people coming out. It's quite a pleasant day really. It's a bit cloudy but warm enough, not raining. And you do get quite a few people swimming down there, and I thought given the car park's busy, there's going to be a lot of people coming straight down the beach, so I've shifted even more east, and I'm further east through Pevensey Bay, now at a venue called the Kiosk where I've come down. There's still the shingle shifting going on behind me, but at least it's only one vehicle, and the shingle banks don't look too treacherous to get back up in places anyway. I'll probably have to move all my gear back up in stages rather than lugging it up on the trolley, but that is a problem for when I pack up. So what's the plan now I've moved? Well, I came down, as I said, hoping to target plaice and sole down at Eastbourne. Because of that, I have brought with me 5 wraps of fresh lug. That looks a bit limp, but if I give that a good slap, bear with me. That is still toughening up. So these are probably not their freshest, but they're certainly not the stickiest I've ever used bait. Now the problem I'm going to have, because I've moved down to Pevensey Bay, is this bay is infested with silver eels. And based on my experience of fishing here, there's nothing they like better than a bit of fresh black lug. So I'm going to have to be willing potentially to sacrifice a rig or 2 today. I'm still hoping there might be some plaice here. To be honest, I've never had much luck with sole at this particular spot, so that's going to have to be a slightly changed plan as well. But I'm just going to stick out my rigs, use the bait I've got, and we'll just take this as a session to see what happens. I haven't even got my shouter up yet. I've got one rod chucked out. I'm going to get the other one set up. So in a minute, when I've got a bit more settled, we'll have a look at the rigs I've got today. And yeah, so the plan really is, there is no plan anymore. I've adapted, come to somewhere that I can fish relative peace and quiet with that thing going on. And yeah, let's hope for some fish. So let's talk about rig choice for the day. Well, I had come down prepared to fish for sole and plaice, but I have a few rigs with me. And given my plans have changed, I'm actually going to use 3 different rigs today now. I've got one of my sole rigs here all wound up, ready to go. That has got size 6 super match hooks on about 8 to 10 inch snoods, just with no clips or anything, no need for bait stops on that. And they have fluorocarbon snoods as well, I think. I'd have to double check that, but not that it really matters on that one. I have a 2 up, 1 down, 20 inch going up. 20 inch for the 2 top snoods and 24 inch for the bottom snoods. And this is a running rig, so it's a bit like a Wessex style where you've got the free lined, that's not the right word, is it? You've got the running bead at the bottom and a snood coming off of that. So when I've got that out the packet, we'll have a better look. That's got size 4 super matches and 0.3 fluoro. And the one I've cast out is a 1.0 loop rig, 18 inch snoods, and again, I think that's 25 pound fluorocarbon snoods from the Tronics Pro soft fluorocarbon range. So let's get this sole rig unwound, we'll take a look. I'm going to put a plain lead on this. I've got a 4 ounce white hybrid lead there, that's going to go on the end. So I get my little ties off and unwrap this rig. I'm actually really running low on sole rigs. I've only got one other one with me. So hopefully if we catch one of those slimy pests, it won't be on one of my sole rigs. I've got loads of loop rigs with me, so I don't mind, well I do always mind getting eel slime. but it would be less of an issue on one of my loop rigs. So I hooked myself and hooked my trousers. So there we go, the top of the rig. You can see there I've got my, I think that's a size 6 or 8 swivel trapped between 2 micro beads and some rig gum stops, going down to that little size 4 super match hook. So I say size 4? Apologies, size 6. And when you can see here is when I make my sole rigs, what I try and do often is that's where my fingers are, is where that hook's coming to. And you can see there's a bit of a gap there between where the hook hits and the swivel. And that's because sometimes I use maddies on these rigs, and you need a little bit of space for the tails because you don't want the tails of the worm to get caught on the next swivel down. And then we've got the same again for the middle and the bottom hook. So it's all exactly the same, 3 hooks held in place with our rig gum stops, little short snoods, little small hooks, all fished above the lead. And the advantage of using rig gum, if I want to slide one down below the lead later, all I need to do is move this like so, slide that down, take that other stop with it, that's all gone. And that can be held in place to fish below. But I'm going to start off fishing 3 above with this one, so I'll slide that back up into position. I'll just check that. Yep, we've got clearance to the lead, go up a little bit more, clearance to the hook above. So there we go, that's my sole rig. Pop that on my box. And the other rig was this like one with the Wessex style at the bottom. This is a flounder rig, but I'm not expecting flounders, I'm just mixing it up because I've had to change my plans. This one isn't as neatly packaged, is it? It's going to take me a little while to untangle that. I used to use rig winders a lot, but I stopped using them because I decided they just took up too much space in my box. Not that my box is full, but it's the extra weight to carry when putting things in plastic bags is lighter. Right, let's get this weight on here. Another plain lead. This one's just a regular like rolling type lead. So get that on there. Carry on untangling this beast. I've actually used crimps on this rig because I had to make a lot of rigs in a rush a few months back. And so crimps are just a tiny bit quicker. Not much quicker because I tie a lot of stop knots. But this one just got crimped for ease. Okay, so let's start at the top. I'll come a bit closer to the camera again. So at the top, we just got a swivel held in place with crimps. And this is our 20-inch snood down to the hook. And if we follow that down, if I pull that line, the snood nice and close. Again, you can see I've left wiggle room there for the tails of the worms because I was planning on using this for flounders with maddies. And then we got the middle snood, same deal, swivel held in place with the crimps and the 20-inch snood. And then down at the business end, here's the weight. And you can see that's on this little running bead. Tronics Pro make these. It's like a mini pulley bead. And that just slides freely. And then we have our 24-inch snood down the bottom here. So there we go. And that could slide all the way back up to the crimp. So we're going to get all these rigs loaded up with lug and get them chucked out. See what's going to pick up some fish today. I'm not sure I mentioned it already, but I'm fishing the ebb tide today. So high tide was about an hour and a half ago. I've already moved down the beach from when I arrived and recorded the intro piece. We're just going to follow the water down, fish till around low tide when it's going to be getting dark, and then go home. So it's like 12:30 now. So I've got about another 3.5, 4 hours of fishing before it's going to get too dark to do any filming. So let's see if this short little session can pick up that fish. Let's hope my luck changes after having to ditch 3 venues today already. See you in a bit. So what rods have I got with me today? Well, both my rods are my 2-piece competition performance. And on this one I've got my blue 7HT. The other one's got one of my Penn Fathom 15s on it. I'll just tighten up my drag a little bit. And this has got my 3-hook sole rig on there that we just had a look at, loaded with these blacks. So there we go. Normally I'd only put half a worm on a sole rig hook, but these worms are already quite small, so they're about 50% bigger than the baits I typically stick on a sole rig. But we're going to go with that because if I chop them in half, I'm going to end up really tiny pieces, a bit smaller than I'd like. I'm going to get this one cast out. The other rod's already been out a little while, so I'll reel that in a minute. But yeah, let's get these baits out. Just check my reel seat's nice and tight. Not going for any distance with this. I've got the hybrid lead on here, and they do compromise distance a bit anyway. But I'm not worried about that. We're going to put this about 30, 40 yards. Just a little overhead flick. There we go. Not very far out at all. The other one I should put a bit further than that. But we get it reeled in once I've got my other rig baited up, and we'll take a look at that. Okay, so let's get these baits reeled in. First chuck, this was the loop rig I put out of 1.0 saltwater champions on it. This one's got a grip lead on. Let's see if we got any fish. See if anything's had a go at the bait. I haven't noticed anything, but then I have been busy setting up. And oh, the reel seat's a bit loose. I always have to do this. First cast, I always end up tightening it back up when I reel in. I can feel it dragging along the sand. Oh, got the leader on the reel. Has anything had a go at my baits? Well, let us take a look. Yes. Top two hooks have had something munching on them. Let's take a look. Oh, we've got a bite on the other one, look. Before we take a look at that then, I'm going to have to deal with this bite because we know those pesky eels live here. Let's see what's on here. Nothing. I'll leave that for a bit. Let's take a look at these munched baits. So look at that. Something's clearly had a go at the top hook and the bottom hook. Oh, if I can get it off. Completely empty. Sorry, the middle hook, that one. And the bottom hook, well, the bait slid down the hook a little bit, but it looks fairly untouched, probably untouched. Yeah, so let's change the rig over, get this chucked back out. So I've got that Wessex style flounder rig ready to go. Flounder rig loaded with lug rather than the maddies that I had intended to put on there. So we'll chuck this out. Once I've got this out, I'll rebait the spare rig and we'll see what's gone on with that other one. So I'm going to put this one a little bit further, not much further. I can't be bothered to put my thummy on because I'm not really interested in distance at the moment. I do find it a bit uncomfortable to wear, so I'm just going to lay that lead back. If I was interested in distance, I'd obviously be using a clip down rig. We got that out. We'll quickly get some baits on the other rig and then we'll reel in the sole rig and see if there's anything left on there, on the hooks after that little nibble. One thing I do find if I'm using plain leads is often they can lead to more bites, but I find I get more hookups when using a grip lead like I've got on here. This has got my 5 ounce grip lead on. So let's get this rebaited, then we'll take a look at the other one. Right, so let's rebait this bad boy, my loop rig. Right, top hook first. Got a bit of tangling going on. Right, so I'm going to take off that bit of lug that's left. Keep an eye on my other rods while I'm doing it. So, take a couple of lug out here, and there's 2 worms there. I'm not going to need 3, obviously, unless I can salvage that bait at the bottom. I'm just going to chop off the heads, chop off the tails. So chopping those, the sandy tails add nothing. Chopping the heads and tails off allows the scent to get out. They're only small worms, so I'm not going to bother with a bait needle. Just going to get one popped on this top hook. It's possible that given that I had the bait stolen, it's possible there's small fish out there getting the baits off but not getting the hook in their mouth. So that's the top hook, baited up. move down to the middle. That was already stripped clean, as we saw. So get the tail end of the worm, that's that end. Tail on first. Slide that on nice and neat. And the bait stops in about the right place. The one at the top's too high, so just slide that down. There we are, it's nicely touching the top of the worm now. Now let's take a look at that bottom hook. It's obviously not much tied out there, because even though I've got my little bit of tubing at the top of the snood, that is still, there's the tube there, still got a bit tangled in the grip lead. So let's take a look at this worm. Now, it's possible something had a go at that. It looks a little bit sucked. What I'm going to do is just put a little bit of bait elastic on that one at the bottom, because it's not in a particularly great state, but the worm can stay. Save a bit of bait. Cool. So that's rebaited. I'll get this hung back up on the tripod to clip it all up, ready to go. And we'll reel in the one that had the bite and see what's happened to the bait on that. So here we go, let's get this clipped up. Make sure I keep that swivel under tension so it doesn't come off the rig clip. Get that bottom hook in the splashdown. Oops, missed. There we go. Middle hook on the cascade, and then the top hook on the other cascade. Right, let's see what we have, if anything. See if there's any bait left. Well, there's no fish, unless it's very small. Probably find, when I look back at the footage, probably find, oh, it was Jem kicking the tripod. Wouldn't put it past me, you know. Maybe you should have a rewind and see if Jem was kicking the tripod. Oops. Both my reels today, oh, something's definitely had a go at this. Look at that. Was that just spinning round, or was that a bite? You guys probably had a better look than me. Oh, got a slack line. Slack line. Crikey, it's all happening. Get that bit of slack line wound in. Oh, I can't feel anything on there. That can go back in the rod rest for now. So what was going on with the sole rig? Look at that. Bottom hook has been stripped. And there's evidence of fish activity. Look at that on the top hook. That bait's been well plucked at. Middle hook, some evidence of action as well. So we get these rigs swapped over. And I'll chuck out, oops, try and make sure I put my lead by the tripod leg so I don't lose it on the beach. We've chucked this one out quite close in, even though this one's got a grip lead and quite a different rig style. If there's fish there, that was me hitting the tripod with the lead. If there's fish there, they still might be interested in the worms on this rig, even though it's got bigger hooks. So let's get this out. So it was just a gentle chuck, wasn't it, that I did that sole rig. So we're going to go slightly to the right. Gentle chuck. Burnt my thumb a bit on that, trying to slow it down. Right. All action. We'll keep washing those rods. I've just had a lovely bite on this rod. Let's see what we got. Have I missed it? Yeah. Again, oh, there we go, look. I think he's on this time. Something pulling back now. Oh, is it on there? I think it just got off. Damn it. Of course, it might just be playing dead, but I think that's got off. Hopefully that hasn't covered my rig with slime. Oh, snagged. That's not good. Proper snagged. Well, at least I'm pretty sure the fish got off. Whoa. Well, that's not coming back. Snapped good and proper, that did. That's a shame. I'll have to remember there's a snag roughly straight in front of me. Right. Sad times. I'll get a new leader on and get it chucked back out. So I just cut a little bit of line off the end because it's got a bit frayed up. So I've got a nice clean end there. And I have with me 15 to 60 pounds Zen and tapered leader. So I'm going to get this put on. Now the one advantage of fishing the ebb is I'm not exactly sure what time low tide is, but I'll still be here at low tide. I might be able to get my rig back if I'm lucky. But the way today's going, that's only if my luck changes really, isn't it? Third venue. Lost a rig on its first chuck. Not ideal. That was the flounder Wessex style rig. So I've got another one of those out because obviously we picked up a lovely bite on it. Nice and moist. There we are. Lovely little leader knot there. I do like that about using tapered leader. I just trim these ends. Not if I was at home doing this, I'd trim with nail clippers, but I haven't got any of those here. So I've only got my baiting scissors. Try not to cut the knot. There we are. So that's all nicely trimmed. I'll get this wound onto the reel. At least it wasn't my sole rig that I lost because I've only got one more of those with me. Got the leader knot at the side. There we are. I'll have to find another little clip as well. I'm sure I've got some somewhere with me. I forgot to take little clips with me to Norway, so when I did lose a rig I had to scrounge one. But I keep a little pot of handy bits that I might need in the tray I keep at the side of my box. So get this tied on and then we'll be nearly good to go again. I've got another rig baited up ready, so all I need to do is get that clipped on and I can get back in the water fishing quicker than if I didn't have a spare rig ready to go. So I'll trim that end, leave a little bit of a tag end just for an extra bit of security on that knot. And there we go, clip stuck back on. Let's get some baits back in the water. I'm sorry if there's an awful lot of background noise. Some of that heavy plant has just turned up. It's right up there behind me. That's what I was hoping to get away from coming down here rather than fishing at Eastbourne. Hopefully you can still hear me. The digger seems to have gone past. I'm going to cast this one to the left, given we got snagged straight out. So cast to the left for this one, I'll cast to the right for the other one. And like I say, hopefully as the tide goes down, we'll get that rig back. That's very to the left. Probably a bit more left than I wanted, but it's clear of that snag, isn't it? Let's see what happens with the baits there. While those are out, we will get another rig ready with another plain lead on it. I've got a few with me. No more green ones like that one I just lost. But I've got some 150 gram leads that I used to use over the field. They're a little bit beaten up because of that. But fine for fishing when you're only casting close in. Oh look, we've got a bite on the other one, just as I'm tightening that up. Could that have been me touching the tripod? That's my first wonder. Probably was. Having one of those sort of days today. No, I'm not touching the tripod now, am I? Yeah, fish on. Right, I'll just take you down with me and we're going to walk to the right. Pretty sure there's a fish on here. Hopefully the camera's not too off level. Let's see, have we got it? Sadly, it's feeling very, very light. Is it going to be the day of the missed fish? Are my hooks too big? Some of them are 6s. At least I think that's what they were on my sole rig. Might need to leave these bites a little bit longer, but I'm very wary of all the eels in this bay. Yeah, 2 hooks completely stripped. 1 been attacked. So given I haven't even got the other rig ready, I'm going to rebait this one and get it chucked back out. Well, I was just about to tuck into some lunch and I noticed I've got a bite on the left-hand rod. I've literally just finished getting out my new spare rig and baiting that up, popped it on the tripod. Sat down to have a bite of my roll and I noticed the rod tip on the left going, that's the one with the sole rig on and the hybrid lead that I cast well left. Just that one little touch. Now I'm going to leave this one a little bit longer because I've missed a few bites for fear of hooking an eel. Look, the other one moved in. There we go, look, bites on both rods. Because we know eels trash those rigs, the slimy little beasts. Which one to go for first, left or right? Oh! I'll tell you what I'll do first. I've got packets that my rigs come out of in my pocket. I'll put them down on the box, or in the box so they don't blow away. Thankfully there's not much wind today. It's absolutely lovely down here considering the time of year. If my hooks keep getting stripped like they have been, I'll start using a bit of bait elastic to make it a bit harder for them to pinch that worm and hopefully pull the hook in to their mouths. Well, the one on the left's been out longer and that's the one I saw the bite on first. So I'm going to pick it up, reel into it. With that hybrid lead on, it should just move a little bit. And hopefully I'll be able to tell if there's a fish on. A little bit more. No, I think that was a bait thief. Pop that back down. Get the line tightened up a little bit. Oh, that's going to stay like that, is it? Fair play. Maybe what I should do is eat some lunch, leave those bites a little bit longer, because you never know, there might be a plaice about. That's what I was hoping to catch today down at Eastbourne. Lunch is what I need. So I managed to get 1 bite of my cheese roll, cheese and onion I've got there today. If they are little plaice out there, you've got to sit on your hands, haven't you, for them? Sit on your hands for plaice. Don't waste your time when it comes to eels. What a contradiction. Be quick or be slow, take your pick. Well, I haven't seen the right hand one go again. I think I'll have to get my jet boil out in a minute as well. Make another cup of tea. I haven't had a cup of tea since before I left home. And when my caffeine levels dip, I'm definitely feeling in need of a cuppa. I'll bring you back if there's a bite other than into my cheese sandwich. Well, I finished my first cheese roll. I had a few more little twitches on the one on the left. Haven't seen anything on the one on the right, so we're going to reel this in. At the very least, we're going to put fresh baits out. Let's see if we have a hookup. Like I say, I'm going to start putting a bit of bait elastic on. Yeah, there's no fish, they're just little things stealing the bait. I'm going to start putting a bit of bait elastic on so they can't steal it quite as easy. I think this is the rig with the hybrid lead on. There we go, look. Have we got a fish or is it just the hybrid lead I can see coming through the water? Oh, we have got a fish. I'll walk down, I don't want to drag it up the shingle. We'll find out what these little bites are. Could it be a small pout maybe? Can't quite see it yet. Oh yes. It's a baby pout. Well, at least I know it's not eels. Let's take a look at this little guy. Caught on the sole rig, that's what we want, isn't it? Pout on the sole rig. Look at the size of that, it's absolutely tiny. Let's hope that's not the only fish we catch today. Anyway, I'm going to get this guy unhooked. I've got a bucket of water next to me to give him time to recover before he goes back. And I'll get some baits back out. Well, I am pretty convinced now, after having caught that one pout, there is a massive shoal of pout in front of me. I cast out the left-hand rod just now after reeling the pout in. It's already got bites on it. Look, there it goes. I'm pretty sure that is just a little pout. We already saw I had a bite on the right-hand one earlier on while I was eating the cheese sandwich, I think it was. So I've probably got no bait left on that because it's just been sitting there quiet. So what I'm going to do is reel in the one on the right, even though I haven't seen a bite on that, leave the one on the left biting away. And to be honest, I don't really want to keep hooking little pouts. So I'm quite pleased if I miss these because they don't go back very well. A lot of them go belly up. And I don't want to catch and kill fish just for the sake of it. You know, I want to look after them, make sure they go back well. But yeah, we'll keep fishing. I'm going to reel in the one on the right while the one on the left bites away. I've got my spare sole rig baited up, good to go, with the hybrid lead on there. Now I don't want to get caught in that snag again, so we're just going to move over to the right. Let's take you for a little walk with me down the beach. Here should be enough. Let's see what we have on. Oh, there's a bit of weight on this one. This is the one with the grip lead though. So it might just be dragging on the ground, but it definitely feels a bit heavier. And I did have that bite that we saw on it. I'm going with there's a fish on this, you know. It'd be nice if it isn't a triple shot of pout, wouldn't it? It'd be also nice if it's not an eel. Yeah, there's definitely a bend in the rod. I'll have to move a bit away from the camera in case you can't see that rod tip there. Hopefully that's in shot now. But yeah, there's definitely something better on here than that pout we had. We're in close. I'll walk down to the water once it's out. What do we have? I think it might just be a bigger pout. Bear with me. Well, I was marginally right. It's not a bigger pout, it's a foul hooked pout. So look, the sea must just be filled with these tiny creatures. If it carries on like this for too long, I might just call it an early session because I'm planning to get out again soon anyway. But look at that, isn't it perfect? Very, very cute. Let's get this guy back. So I've got the sole rig ready to go out. In order to try and get away from these pout, I'm going to chuck it in extremely close, like maybe 10 yards. So I'm going to cast from up here and we'll see where we can get it. I'm going to cast it to the right because of that snag that's in front of me. So I'm going to just flick it this way. That is in very, very close. Let's see if that gets us away from those bait thieves. Pop that back in the tripod. And we're good to go. So I'll rebait that other rig, and the other one that's out there, the left-hand rod that I didn't reel in with those bites, I'll bring that in a minute. I'll only show you what's going on there if it's not a pout. It's a pout fest. It's official. I've made myself a lovely big cup of tea. Normally I only bring a small cup with me, but today I've gone large. I needed the caffeine, as I said earlier in my video. It's been quite a long time ago since I recorded that bit. I'm definitely in need of a cuppa. I've already used half my bait and I've been fishing for about an hour and a half. These pout are bait stripping thieves. At least they're not rig destroying eels, and I am getting bites. In fact, both rods I've already had bites on. I'm just going to leave them there for a little bit. I'm going to enjoy my cup of tea, and I might even go down to one rod in a bit to stretch the bait out, because while these pout are in, nothing stands a chance. I've just got to try and fish through them, hope they move off as the tide drops out even more. The one on the right, I don't know if you saw that, that's the one I dropped in about 10 yards out. There you go, going again. There's pout everywhere. The sea is filled with pout. Oh, what to do? I think I'm going to have to put my thumbie on and whack one out in a minute. I've tried in close, I've tried moderate distance, I've tried to the left, I've tried to the right. Well, of course, that's not going to make much difference really, is it? But yeah, I might have to go distance, all out distance in a minute. We'll have to see how it goes. Anyway, I'm going to enjoy my cup of tea. It's nearly finished brewing. So cheers, everyone. I'm going to finish my lunch and then we'll reel in, hopefully, without pout on the end, because they don't swim off well. See you in a sec. Well, I was still enjoying my cup of tea and my lunch, but the right-hand rod is pulling like crazy. So we're going to reel this one in and see what we've got on the end. Let's go down to the water's edge. I've got to keep the line tight. I'm hoping the pout's not on here. Like I say, I don't really want to catch them. It's been going like a crazy fiend though. Doesn't feel like there's one on there, which makes me relieved. I only like killing fish if they're coming home for someone to eat or going to be sent out as bait. And for me today, neither of those things are going to happen to these pout. We're getting closer to the edge. Right, let's turn you around, you can see what's happening. Right, hopefully I'm going to be in shot in a second. Is the little pout free? Let's hope he's free. Yeah, not on here. Woo! Another one gets to live. I've still got most of my bait actually. So what I'm going to do is have a look, see if I can tidy this up. So I might be able to just stack this back out and finish my cup of tea in peace from the pout. So something's had a right pull on that middle one. Top hook still looks pretty good, to be fair. Considering how much that was rattling around, I'm quite surprised I've got all this bait left. So I'll just get that slid up the hook. They're very, very good at pulling them off. And I did talk about putting a bit of bait elastic on, but I've decided not to do it because I don't want to hook these little things. You know, I'm not out here fishing a match where every fish counts. I'm out here to have some fun and show those fish a little bit of respect. Certainly I wouldn't go fishing matches these days where it's weigh in only. Should all really be catch and release these days, in my view. Everything to protect the environment, and that includes saving the life of a little tiny pout. Right, it's time for war. I've put my thummy on. We're going to reel in the one on the left. I've been getting bites on both, clearly pout bites. We're going to chuck it out further. I'm starting to get a bit of hope I might get my lead back soon. There's a bit of gnarly stuff just showing down there where the water's got to. Maybe in another half hour I'll have a wander down to that spot and see if I've got a lead in it. Although I think I was further out than that when I lost the lead. But it's still going to be worth a look. There's some bits of post showing further out there as well. I've got something spinning. I'm going to walk down. I don't want to drag it up the beach. It's just another pout. Rather than walk back up with it, I'm going to release it down here if I can get the hook out without my forceps. It was biting away for quite a long time. Oh, they're getting smaller, you know. But we have a little pout. Hopefully my mic's not dropping out too much. Let's chuck this guy in. Yeah, there's definitely a little gnarly mess. Whoops. Just getting that a bit further than that. He's going to swim off well, I think, unlike the other two. Can I see my rig yet? No, but there's like a really old groin that's obviously been a bit exposed here. So I'm guessing my lead's probably somewhere in that, but further out. Oh, God, I feel a bit tired today. I did a lot of walking yesterday. And my legs are now saying, what do you mean? We've got to walk up and down the shingle. Anyway, I'm going to change my rigs over, dry my thummy off before I cast out, We get those leads out. The leads, the baits. Before I do, I'm getting some absolutely cracking bites on the other rod. It's very close in, so it's probably just these little pout. It's not hooked itself, so that's good. I'll pop it back down, leave it there. Let it have its lunch in peace. And I'll get these other ones chucked out. So I'll just unclip this one, pop the lead down there at the bottom of the tripod. And we're good to go. So this is the 3-hook loop rig with the grip lead. I can't cast as far with my Fathom as I can with the 7HT. It runs a bit slower. But look at those beautiful baits that are going to go out. There we go. I'll take you down with me. We'll get the lead out. So we are going to whack this out good and proper. There's a few bigger rocks here. I need to make sure I get some good footing. Make sure that thumb is well dry. Nice, decent grip. Not caught around the rod tip. And hopefully get that lead in a nice spot on the beach there. Right, let's get it out. There, I should have loosened the mags really. I didn't even think of it. You see, I'm not having the best day, am I? Happens to us all. I think I need more caffeine still and I need more sleep. But the baits are back out. We've got them out a little bit further at least. Next time I'll try one even further out with looser mags. See you in a sec. Well, one advantage of casting further out is the pout bites get smaller on the rod tip, but they're still there. I'm getting bites on both rods. They're both out a reasonable distance now. This one's gone a little bit slack. It's got a plain lead on it. Let's get it reeled in. Check the baits. If there's a pout on here, I'll walk down to the water's edge and chuck it back. It's almost tempting to step up to bigger hooks, but I'm probably not going to give it too much longer because I just can't get away from the baby pout. It's lovely and quiet down here now. I know the diggers seem to have gone. Maybe it's their lunch break. Late lunch break though. I bet their breaks are determined by the state of the tide, to be honest. Anyway, let's get this reeled in and get some fresh baits whacked out. I've got a rig baited up ready to go as always. Well, nearly always. It doesn't feel like we have a pout. We can't be far out now. Here it comes. No, we don't have a pout, so I can just reel this in up the shingle. We'll get the rigs chained over, get some fresh baits put out. The knots at the side, that's good. Well, there must be fewer pout out there at a distance, because each hook has got bait on it. The bottom hook has definitely been munched though, have a look at that. In fact, there's evidence of things having a go at the other hooks, but that is well mangled up. Anyway, let's change the rig over, get some more baits out. Right, always double check where I put that lead. Have my fair share of time hunting around on the beach for my rigs. So this is my sole rig, so there's only so far I can chuck a rig with a hybrid lead on that's not clipped down, but we'll get this one out there. Time to get it out. I can't cast a hybrid lead very far compared to my bombs. We'll give it a go. I forgot to put my thumbie back on, so I'm going to make sure I just grip that spool really nice and tight for this chuck, and hopefully I don't take the camera out. Take another couple of clicks off those mags. Probably go crack. Let's see. There we are. I reckon that hybrid lead takes about 1/3 to 50% of the distance, but it's out there. Probably back in Pout Central. Let's get this back up to the tripod. See you shortly. Well guys, the right hand rod there is going a bit berserk. That's the one with the hybrid lead on that you saw me cast out not too long ago. Like I say, it killed the distance on that, whereas the other rod I've had little knocks on it, but nothing like as much. So maybe getting that extra bit of distance is what I need to get me away from these pout. Just watch that for a little bit. It's virtually not a person I've seen down here today. This beach has been very, very quiet. It's quite nice. There's one person down there that way, running up and down the shingle, far enough away that I can't hear them. I do like a bit of peace and quiet. There it goes again. Pevensey pout, having its lunch, having its dinner, mid-afternoon tea, whatever it is now. I have got through, including the bait on the rig that's ready to go out, 3 wraps of lug already, feeding the pout. Like I say, I'm glad a lot of them are not hooking themselves. So let's get this reeled in and see if it's on there. It's not been out very long. It's not hooked. Pop it back down. 3 hooks on there after all. To be honest, if I hadn't lost that lead earlier on that snag, I might have called it a day already and given it a really short session. But there's a bit of groin down there. It might be out of shot, but sort of in that direction. That looks really gnarly, and there's still more of it to be uncovered. So I thought I'd wait and have a little better look at that. I mentioned it earlier already, there was only a little bit of it showing there, there's quite a lot now. But I still reckon my lead was a bit further out than that. But we're pretty much down to the sand, because the tide is well into the ebb. You can see sand down to my right there. I don't know if you can make it out. There's birds on the beach walking on the sand. So soon it should start to go out quite quickly. And there's a better chance I might be able to pick my lead back up. Anyway, see you in a minute. Well, you'll never guess what I just caught, will you? You never guess. Oh yeah, it was a pout. That's certainly pests. Anyway, I'm going to get another rig out. I've got a plain lead on this one. This is like my bomb rather than the hybrid lead. Hopefully I'll get a bit more distance on it, even though I'm using my Pen Fathom on this rod. Make sure I grip this spool nicely. Take a couple of clicks, 3 clicks there off the mags. Get my drop length a bit better. Oh, a little bit longer. I think that'll do. Let's see how it flies. We're good to go. Quite a lot further than I can get with the hybrid lead. Of course, the hybrid lead isn't designed for distance, that's not its purpose. It's designed when you want some sort of grip, mild grip, but a plain lead that you can move and try different distances. So anyway, the baits are back out, back into the sea of pout. Well guys, this gnarly bit I mentioned earlier in the video is now fully exposed. I'm pretty sure I was further out than this when I got snagged. But this is only about 40 yards down from me at most, to the edge of the sand here. And I can't see any sign of my lead on this, sadly. There's a dead dogfish there, that's a bit sad. Wasn't me that caught it, all I've had today is pout. But no sign of my lead on that. Damn, I'll have to wait for the tide to drop a bit more to see if I can retrieve my lead. With it being a plain lead, the tide might have taken it away. But yeah, no sign here. But I'll keep waiting. But in the meantime, there'll probably be going to be more pout reeled in. Well, what a surprise. We have a pout bite on the left-hand rod. Let's wind down into it, see what we got. Wonder if it's hooked itself or just stolen the bait. Oh, that's drifted around a little bit to the... Right, I'm going to walk down and I'll let you know how I get on. See you in a bit. What can I say? Just one word. Pout. I'm not going to cast that swan back out. I've used 3 out of 5 wraps of lug. I'm going to save the other 2, maybe pop them in the freezer for another session. I'll just fish this one rod for a little bit with the last bait. So I can see what looks like another snaggy area appearing in front of me. The waves have started to break on it. So what I'll do is I'll reel in the other one in about 5 minutes, pack the first one away, call it the end of my session, and if I manage to load up my gear and come back down here before it's dark, I'll put a little picture up in the corner of the rig if I got it back. So you'll know if I was successful now. Or it might be that side, or it might be down there or down there, somewhere. If I got my rig back, you'll have seen it on the screen. But in the meantime, I'm going to pack that rod away. Thanks for watching this video, brought to you from Pevensey Bay, also known as Eel Bay in my book, but thankfully we haven't seen any of those today. Just these little miniature pouting, which have been pests. But I'm out fishing, I've caught some fish, and I've had loads of bites. See you next time.